Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to make this video for you guys today. It's my first cook with me video and I'm so happy to be doing it because we're making homemade beef and potato empanadas, and also as a bonus I'm going to teach you how to make Puerto Rican sofrito. So you're probably asking, what is sofrito? Sofrito basically is like a trinity, right? So in my sofrito I use red bell peppers, green bell peppers, garlic, cilantro, and onion. And I take it and I put it in a food processor, and it's the base flavorings for Puerto Rican cuisines. Now you can modify this however you like. You can, if you don't want to use cilantro, you don't like it, you don't have to. So it's all modifiable. Use what you like. But for the most part, this is what I use when I'm braising meats, stews, soups, beans. It's just the base flavorings, and it is seriously so good. I've even put it in eggs. It just enhances the flavors of everything. And then I go ahead and use regular seasonings, and I'll show you today how I make my empanadas, how I season them, and how to make the sofrito. So I'm not gonna keep you guys waiting, and I'm gonna show you the ingredients that I'm gonna use, and we're gonna get right to it and get all this stuff prepped up and start cooking. All right, here are all the ingredients I'm going to use today. Now I do have obviously the ground beef, but I have it in the sink still defrosting, but it is pretty much good to go. But the star of the show is, so to make my sofrito, I'm going to take this garlic, the cilantro, onion, red bell pepper, green bell pepper, and you can use fresh garlic. I'm just lazy, guys, so I just buy the bag stuff that's already peeled. And I'm going to go ahead and chop all this up, put it in the food processor, and I'll show you the consistency that I prefer my sofrito. Now you can have it chunkier, more liquidy, whatever you want to call it, but I'll show you the consistency that I prefer it. And I like it because when you have sofrito and you have like picky eaters and they see onions, chunks of onions in their food, guess what? The sofrito, all this dissolves in the food. So your picky eaters are not even going to see the little bits of peppers and onions. So I'm telling you, if you have not made this, try it. It is awesome. So that's going to be the sofrito, what we're going to add to our meat to give it flavor. And then for the empanadas, this is the empanada dough. You can find this in the Latin section in your freezer. It's the Empanada Goya brand. This is what I always buy to make the empanadas. So this is my dough. We're going to use some Sazon, olives, cumin, garlic, salt, and onion. And there's times that I'll even add like Cajun seasoning. Whatever I have in my pantry, I will use. If I want to change it up a bit, I do. So this is what we're going to use. Oh, and the potatoes. We're going to put potatoes in our meat as well. So this just gives you an overview of all the ingredients we're going to use today. So I'm going to start prepping the sofrito. And again, I'm just going to roughly chop all this stuff and stick it in the food processor. So I'm going to make that now. Here are all the veggies on a plate that I am going to go ahead and now put in the food processor so I can go ahead and mix everything and blend everything together. And then also I'm going to add the garlic. So again, get the peeled garlic. It makes your life so much easier unless you want to sit there and peel a bunch of garlic. And I do go heavy on the garlic because we love garlic in this house. So now I'm going to put this in the food processor and blend it all together.
Ya no sabes lo que pasa. El primer verso, papi. Lo que manda aquí la clave. Este ritmo guaguanco, esto es lo que existe. Y también chamaco, nadie nos resiste. Che, no resiste. Aquí estamos bravos, la chema tan brava. Esta vida es brava, y yo también soy bravo. Por eso lo que repica son los cueros. Aquí lo que suena a fuego. Mueve la abuela el pescadero. Hasta lo mueve el aduanero. Norte al sur, lo ven moviendo. hacemos pista, tumbarle con ritmo, le calere. Saben lo que pasa. Yeah. Mi abuelita ahora tiene masa. Aquí lo que falta el cajón. En esta jungla soy el gran león. Armen las cosas en el malecón. Lo que gozamos es salsa y son. Ya saben lo que repican son los juegos. Tengo la clave, soy el suelo. Esta vida es juego. Por eso quiero una vida suave, soy sincero. Que viva mi gente, que viva la raza. De noche a día aquí se trabaja. Igual la gozamos, bailamos en plaza. Quieto, calidad pura en todas sus casas.
Okay, I just finished cleaning up and processing all the veggies to make my sofrito, and I'm going to show you what the final product looks like. Now, we make big batches here in this house because we use it a lot, and obviously you don't want it to go bad. So I make a big batch, separate them in Ziploc bags and stick them in the freezer, and I'll leave like a little bowl of sofrito in the fridge, and then as I'm cooking every day, I just scoop out what I'm going to use and put it in my food. So that way you have a big batch, you don't have to go through the whole chopping dilemma every time that you want it. So my advice, make a big bag, separate it in little, make a big batch, sorry, I can't even talk. Make a big batch, separate it in little Ziploc bags, and then leave some in the refrigerator, and you just use it as you go. And then when you run out, pull out another bag, stick it in a bowl, and you have it there at all times for all your cooking. So let me show you the final product because it smells so good in this kitchen right now. Okay, here's the final product, guys. It is all of it. All this is just onions, peppers, red and green bell peppers, garlic, and cilantro. And when I tell you, if you have not done this, I'm telling you to try it. It is going to change your life. It's going to change the flavorings of your food. And if you don't like onions or cilantro, omit what you don't like. But this recipe is your recipe. You make it how you like it. This is just how I grew up making sofrito. So I'm going to take this and separate them in little Ziploc bags and stick some in the freezer and leave me a little bit in the fridge. But this is my base flavorings that I'm going to add in my ground beef as I'm making my empanadas. So let's get to making the empanadas. Okay, I just added some ground beef in the skillet, and this is just 80-20 ground beef. You don't want to get the ground beef to be too lean because you need some of the fat to be released. Because if not, it's going to get all dry, and it's just, I've tried it before and it just doesn't come out well. So I always get 80-20 ground beef. You can use as much as you want, but we're going to brown this up. That way we can go ahead and add the sofrito and add some seasonings. And those are the seasonings that I showed you earlier. I'm going to add the sofrito. Look at that. And I'm just adding I like my stuff really, really seasoned, so I'm just adding probably just three big spoons of sofrito. And that's it. And then you're gonna mix that into your meat. Since it's almost brown, at the point that it's almost brown, I like to go ahead and add the sofrito in there. When it's raw, I don't. I like it cooked a little bit before I do that. Now, since the ground beef is pretty much almost browned and cooked all the way through, the little pieces that are still pink, so I'll let it keep cooking, but for the most part, it's all the way cooked through. Now is when I add my little packet of Sazon, and I sprinkle that. I'm going to season it with some onion powder, garlic salt, cumin, and always remember, if you're not comfortable in the kitchen, don't go crazy seasoning stuff. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't have measurements. I kind of just eyeball everything. But always keep in mind, you can always add seasonings you can take out. So start off by adding a little bit, mix it really well, taste it, and just keep doing that step until it's to your liking. But I am horrible, guys. I really do not have measurements. I just kind of eyeball everything and I taste as I go. So, and you see the Sazon gives it like a nice color to the meat. And once you add the potatoes and the potatoes are cooked all the way through, potatoes are gonna be like a little yellowish tint to them. I'm telling you, you cannot go wrong if you follow these steps, browning your ground beef for your filling for your empanadas. Look at that bell pepper. Somehow it escaped the food processor and didn't get chopped up. And I like my ground beef very crumbly. I don't like a lot of big chunks in it either. Okay, so the ground beef is cooked all the way through now. There is no pink in there. It's nice and cooked. And now, your next step is to add your potatoes. So now I'm going to add my potatoes because the ground beef is all the way cooked through. And now I'm going to add my olives, just a few olives, just to give it an extra little oomph to your empanadas. My husband loves olives in our Puerto Rican rice that we make and empanada, so I like to add them in here because it's just, I don't know, it really does give it a nice flavor. And I don't do a whole lot, just a few. I bought the already sliced olives, so I don't have to sit there and slice them. Anything to make my life easier in the kitchen. Okay, now that everything's been mixed up, it's cooked. Now the final step to making this filling, ground beef is all the way cooked through, is let the potatoes, I lower the temperature and I put a lid on this and let the steam cook the potatoes. So again, the bigger the potato chunks that you have in there, the longer it's going to take for those potatoes to cook, and you don't want to burn the meat. So I always lower the temperature and I try to dice up the potatoes to small little cubes like this. As you can see, this is a good size and it won't take too long for them to cook all the way through, but I always have to cover it. So while that is cooking, I'm going to do a little bit more cleaning and wiping down the counters right now.
Ya no sabes lo que pasa. El primer verso, papi. Lo que manda aquí la clave.
Okay, so you want to keep checking your meat and just kind of mixing everything, so make sure your potatoes don't burn. And this is, oh my God, I wish you guys could smell my home right now. This smells like heaven. And to be honest, I can eat this by itself. I don't even need to put it in a empanada to eat it. Like sometimes I'll eat the filling over like white rice. It is so good. Probably like 10 more minutes and the filling should be done. Okay guys, the meat and potatoes are done. So I took the lid off. Let's take it off the burner. There's a little water there from the steam, but it's okay. This is what your meat and potatoes will look like. You see how it has that orangey or yellow color to the potatoes? That is from the Sazon that we put in there. Now let's do a taste test. It's hot, but I'm dying to taste it. Okay, here it is. Oh, it's not focusing. Ah. Okay, here it is. Look at the potatoes, the meat. There's little chunks of olive. Oh my god, that is so good. Like seriously, so good. That was annoying, but it was so good. So once I let it cool, the filling cool, I will show you how we go ahead and fill the empanada doughs, how we press it, and then the last step will be frying it. So also, I will leave a recipe in the description box to make it easier for you to follow. I apologize that I don't measure my seasonings or anything. It's just been experience of being a mom and cooking through all these years. I've just learned how to eyeball it, but always keep this in mind that when you do cook, don't ever go crazy and add tons of seasonings. Just add a little at a time. Always remember, you can always add to your dish. You can't take out. So if you go crazy seasoning and then it's too salty, your dish is kind of ruined. I used to do that when I first got married and I was learning how to cook. And oh my God, I've had the saltiest dishes that I could not even, there was no way fixing it. So I would just always learn through the years. Always start off adding little by little if you're not comfortable in the kitchen. You can always add, you can never take out. So I'm gonna let the filling cool and then I'm gonna show you how to go ahead and shape the empanadas, how to stuff them. And then the last step will be frying. Actually, the last step will be eating the empanada. And I'm gonna share with you guys, and I want you guys to smell it and to taste it, and you guys are gonna tell me how good they are. So I'm gonna let this guy cool a little bit. It is time to lay out the empanada dough, and look at my empanada presser right here. The human of my husband. So he's washing up, gonna lay down all the dough on the countertops, and then I'm gonna show you how I fill them, how he shapes them, and then they're gonna go into the frying pan. And if you go on Amazon, they have like empanada dough pressers, so it makes it a lot easier. I don't have one. I typically have backup, which is my husband or the kids, that will sit there and, like in the good old days, take a fork and press the edges of the empanada doughs to seal it. And one thing, you have to make sure they're sealed really tightly and really good, because when you go to frying them, if any of the meat or the potato comes out, the oil will splatter. I mean, and it can get dangerous in the kitchen. So just make sure that when you're pressing the empanada dough, it's tightly pressed. Sometimes I'll go back and press them twice, because sometimes they don't seal properly, but that's what he's about to do. See him get set up back there? Not the most fun job in the world, but hey, the end result, pretty dang yummy. Okay, so I take my filling and I put it in a bowl, and then I will go ahead and start filling the empanada dough for him, and then he'll go behind me and start shaping them and pressing them with the fork to seal the empanada. So you don't want to overstuff the empanada, because if you do, it's going to be hard to seal it. So just don't put too little and don't put a lot. But again, like, this is all up to you. You can go ahead and put as much as you want and as little as you want. But the more you put in there, the more chances you have of the seal breaking when you fry it, and then the meat and the filling is gonna fall into the grease and just kind of splatter and pop everywhere. And let me tell you, it's happened to me before. It can get a little dangerous. So here we go. Okay, here is how much filling I put in the empanada, so you guys have an idea. It's almost like 2 tablespoons of dough, but you can eyeball it. When you go ahead to shape it, you'll be able to tell if it needs a little bit more filling or not, but that's what they look like. And now let the fun begin, filling and sealing them. Okay guys, it's time to fry the empanadas. So I put some canola oil in that pan. That's the oil that I use for frying. And I put them like medium heat. You don't want to put it too high because you don't want the dough to fry on the outside and it still be kind of raw on the inside. But they don't take long to cook or fry whatsoever. I fried them until they're like a golden brown. Okay, you see how the edges are starting to turn like a nice golden brown, and then if you want to check if they're ready to flip, turn them over, and this is the color that you're looking for. Just a very nice golden brown. Some of them might be a little bit more brown than the others, but this is the color that you are looking for. Okay, just finished frying the empanadas, and oh my god, like they're hot, but I want to dig in and take a bite so bad. Let me show you. I did 10 of them, and let me show what they look like. Here they are. Look at that. This is heaven. If you take the chance and make these empanadas, I promise you, you will not regret it. Okay guys, we're gonna do a taste test, and can you guys smell that? Smells so good. Take a bite. You guys take the first bite. Instead of Taco Tuesday, this should have Empanada Tuesday. I'm just saying. So, ready? They're kind of hot. Cheers. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. This is some good stuff. Look at the inside. Potato, meat. Here goes. Olive. Guys, I'm telling you, make these empanadas. They're simple. I'm gonna leave the recipe in the description box, and again, when it comes, I'll tell you what seasonings I used all over, and I'll have it in the description box, but I don't have measurements. Eyeball it, modify it. You don't have to use what I use to season the ground beef. You can use whatever you have in your pantry, or if you want to try something different, you're more than welcome to. And empanadas are so, like, get creative with them. You can do vegan, fruit, dessert, fill them with Nutella, whatever your little heart desires. You can modify these empanadas, but definitely try this one at some point. The meat and potato ones, they are to die for. And I am thankful that you tuned in. So here, hold that one for me. I'll finish it off. But tell me if you like this whole Cook With Me series. I absolutely love cooking. I love baking, and I want to do more of these type of videos. So if you like this video and you want to see other recipes and some Bake With Me videos, leave me a message in the comment box. I would love to do them. A lot of my vlogs will have little snippets of me cooking because I'm always cooking, I'm always baking. That's what makes me happy. He complains because he's gaining weight, but hey, he's happy though, right? So thank you for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed it. And leave me a comment if there's a certain recipe that you want me to try to make for you guys. And I'm also going to leave the recipe to the sofrito. That is a must. I'm telling you, make the sofrito and put it in your ground beef, your soups, your beans, your soups, whatever you like. It just makes the food taste so good. But again, thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it and see you next time. Bye.